Partly to mostly cloudy Thursday night with a thunderstorm in spots early on near the coast. The overnight low 73 to 77. Tomorrow, Friday, sunshine and some clouds with a couple of thunderstorms likely in the afternoon, high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Here is your 30-second news brief. The Florida Department of Education issued grades for schools across the state. Marion County had 4 A grades and 2 F grades. The full report is available on the Florida Department of Education website and on the WOCA Facebook page. Florida U.S. Senator Bill Nelson is urging his Republican colleagues to work on a bipartisan approach to health care. A Marion County man was arrested after shooting at imaginary snakes, and Walt Disney World is offering a 4-park ticket for $79 per day. And that is your news brief from The Source.
What do I do now?
After 911, don't worry, call Fakuri. Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic, treating auto injuries for over 32 years. Same-day appointments, immediate medical attention, all under one roof. Don't worry, call Fakuri. Go to bestinjurycare.com. All auto insurances are accepted. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take your call. Car accident? Don't worry, call Fakuri. bestinjurycare.com.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. When I was a kid, I wonder how many people can relate to this. When I was a kid, my father used to send me to the corner for the newspaper. And on Sundays, the only way I knew which paper was the one he wanted was if Dick Tracy was on the front. They would wrap the Sunday paper with the comics, I guess, back in those days. And then later on in life, when I was touring as an amateur, a non-famous musician, I would get USA Today everywhere I went. I'd get a copy of USA Today, bring it to my hotel room, and that was kind of my way of entertaining myself. The Newseum, I think Gene Policinski has been with us before, but I just love the Newseum. I have not been there, but oh my gosh, it's on my list, Robin. Gene is one of the founding editors of one of my favorite newspapers, USA Today. He's the chief operating officer of the Newseum Institute and the Newseum Institute's First Amendment Center, which I was looking at on the webpage even before I realized he was coming on. Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that site, and I can't wait to actually go to the Newseum. Good morning, Gene. How are you?
Good morning, and when you get here, let me know. We'll walk around it together.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Yes, I think I'll be there a long time. I have a feeling I'm just going to. It's something that I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but I really am. I do news, and to be honest, I'm not that interested in politics. But
well, the great thing is you really get a sense of how news pervades all of our, what we do. It's cultural. We've got an exhibit on. In just listening to your background on called Louder Than Words, on how rock and roll and politics have the interplay between those kinds of songs and political movement. So and there's just a lot. We look at religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition, all 5 freedoms. So bring a knapsack. There's a food court downstairs. We'll have you for a couple days.
Oh, I can't wait to it. So is there a new exhibit you want to promote today?
Well, the exhibit and the survey both. We're introducing a new Camelot survey, looking at John Kennedy's 100th, the anniversary of his birth, and then we do the annual State of the First Amendment survey that brings us together this morning, and we look at how the public feels about those core freedoms.
Oh, really? And what are they saying?
Well, the message is that I think as a country, still very strongly in favor of all 5 of those, including a free press and free speech. And that's comforting in a time when we seem to be so divided. But there's some warning signs. Even among good numbers, you might say, if you look at about a 20% drop, a 20-point drop in the number of people who say that the media, is biased in reporting the news. It went from the 70s to the 50s. But you have to also look at the fact that a lot of people say, I only look at news that I agree with, in effect. So you're not going to say that's biased if you already agree with it. So there's some warning signs for us as a nation.
Interesting.
I think we're better off to get a lot of different views. We
use all the sources that we can, and it does seem like some agencies will report the same story, and it's always political that does this. Maybe this is why I'm a little sour to because other news isn't this way. Billy Joel, runs his car into a house on Long Island, and nobody changes the story. Everybody's agreeing with it.
I think that's a really good point. Hopefully Billy's okay. But it's this idea that the view of media as biased, or the charges of fake news, you're really talking about a slice of the news. Most people out there are getting news that they need to live their lives. Is my water bill going to go up or down? What's happening with my taxes? What roads are getting paved?
Right.
That is essential to the way we are, and that's getting reported.
Yeah.
And I think if you can bring that kind of objectivity back to political reporting on the national level, and we're seeing that now. You just look at the numbers for circulation and ratings, if you will, for newspapers and networks on the squishy news, if you will, around campaigns. And when we get into hard things like what kind of health care are we going to have, what's going to happen with immigration law, you start seeing circulation numbers up, ratings up. When they're reporting hard news, people tune in.
How do I ask this question, Rob? How are newspapers doing? Are they? I hate to see newspapers going away. I'm trying to do my part by keeping a subscription, but there was a story this morning about the New York Times laying off a bunch of copy editors.
Yeah, I think this disruption from digital news. We're just in the middle of, or not even the middle, maybe just the beginning of a whole new economic model that news outlets have to get. We've trained people for 20 years that news is free online, and it's not free. It's not free to gather, and it shouldn't be free to get. I think if you buy something, you also place some value in it, so you don't just skip around or take the story of the moment, and you expect some value for your money. Right now, if I read the 907,000 story about the Kardashians, a big deal. But if I'm paying money, I want to know if it's a good day to buy a car. What's going to happen to my mortgage rate? What are my kids going to eat?
Yeah.
That has value. So I'm hoping that we reset after this disruption. But right now, it's a tough time if you're trying to pay the bills at a news organization.
It was interesting, one of the points that you brought out in your survey that a lot of people seem to be concerned with about about putting limits on the First Amendment rights.
I think so. And again, one of the heartening things is that despite all the brickbats that have been leveled at the news media, still 2/3 of us think that it's important for the media to be a watchdog on government, for example. That's the historic role of the government. A little concern, again, because that number drops by a point or two every year in our survey.
Oh, my gosh. That's probably the biggest reason to keep the press.
Yeah. Well, it was what the founders had in mind.
Yeah,
They wanted that fourth estate function. But again, you look at the numbers for newspapers like the Washington Post, which are right on the point in terms of the administration. Their circulation numbers are up. Their revenue is up. So it's not a panacea for all that plagues the news business. That started long before the Trump administration in terms of money and advertising flowing to the digital side. But I think there are some things to pay attention to. Our survey shows a fundamental, I think, both belief and trust and dependence on these core freedoms. So that's an encouraging part of our survey.
I noticed on the Newseum website that there's an area for kids. And I think that's a good thing. I think my little story about going to get the newspaper was probably my introduction into, well, obviously my father found this thing important, this thing called newspaper. So what is it that's important? And so I'm guessing kids today have to be shown that same thing. This is why news is important.
Well, we have a very strong element both in the building, so you can have some fun, but also learn about how the news business functions. And right now we see about 8 million students and teachers online. And again, we'll show you what's good and bad about how news has been reported, where there have been mistakes and where there have been really successes. But it starts with, I think, as you're indicating, an appreciation for the value of the marketplace of ideas, of the value of news. That's really training people to be good citizens.
And it's very, very interesting, too, about different perspectives, because there was a conversation in my Sunday school on Sunday. One young lady was going around the country looking for different colleges, and her dad brought up one college and said, no, she's not going there because it's way too liberal. So parents are affected by that kind also, by that perspective.
I think, and I think that's, there are places which have viewpoints. And in fact, in our survey where we saw the drop in number of people who thought the media reports with bias, the temper to that, the counter to that is that, we're seeing people choose media that only agrees with their point of view, so you're not going to see them as biased. And that's a concern to me. But I think, on the whole, we look for news and news outlets we can trust in terms of that college selection that father was concerned about. I think it's appropriate to say I'd like to go to a place that has a particular point of view that agrees with me, but I would hope that college, even if they stress a point of view, acknowledges the fact that there are other points of view. One of the concerns in our survey that I have is that a large number of students are willing to say universities should keep out speakers who are controversial.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's not good.
Well, that's what I love about the free press. The founding fathers were pretty smart. Hopefully we don't let go of that important thing. I love the Newseum. The website is newseum.org. Anything else we should leave the listeners with, Gene? I can't wait to get there. I'm looking forward to it so much. Looks like a Saturday.
Come and visit us. When you come and visit us, and when you have the chance to look at multiple sources of news, that's the best antidote to so-called fake news.
Oh, there you go. That is absolutely true. Great words to end with. Thank you, Gene. Thank you for being on with us today.
Good to be with you both. Thanks.
All right, we will be right back.
Administration's travel ban taking effect tonight, setting new criteria for visa applicants from 6 mainly Muslim countries.
There is an exception for those who can show a bona fide relationship with a U.S. citizen or entity. What's a bona fide relationship? The Trump administration defines that as parents, spouses, children, siblings, and sons and daughters-in-law. Who's not covered? Grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, and fiancés.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland, the largest airline in the Middle East, Emirates, says its flights to the U.S. are operating as normal. Senate leaders scrambling to come up with a revised health care plan by tomorrow. Its biggest challenge, bridging the gap
between the senators divided over a variety of issues for a compromised agreement. By our count, 9 senators were opposing the bill yesterday.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. Fox News. We report. You decide.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Time starts now. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat? Where can you find the answers to these questions?
Car crashes are one of the leading killers of U.S. children. Many of those deaths could be prevented by making sure that kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen Silver Springs. It's a new year full of good stuff and good food. So come on down to DQ at Silver Springs and start it off right. Because we've got things for your heart's delight. Chicken strips and pepper gravy and slaw or chili dogs, oh so savory. Codfish and grilled burgers too, made to order just for you. Creamy and frosty, blizzards and shakes, and all kinds of flavors for goodness sakes. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Although relationships do take work, it should not be the job of just one person to keep it afloat. Kickboxing provides a cardio workout that engages every muscle group in the body. It regulates our blood pressure, reducing feelings of anger. Most of us skip taking naps because we think they're a sign of laziness, but many studies have found that napping for as little as 10 minutes a day is proven to boost memory, creativity, and learning.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
I'm Jennifer McCullough, the Executive Director of Palm Garden. This is National CNA Week, and I want to personally express my heartfelt gratitude to all our certified nursing assistants for the hard work and care they give to our residents. I have always felt that Palm Garden CNAs are ladies and gentlemen caring for ladies and gentlemen. Our CNAs work round the clock to ensure the best of care, and I am so proud of our marvelous staff. Happy CNA Week from Palm Garden of Ocala.
The entire world watched. They watched each step down the rungs of that small ladder, one after another, and waited with great anticipation for that last step.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
At that moment, humanity saw the impossible become the possible. And today, the sky is not the limit. Achievement. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.